Hey everybody, I'm Mark Walters with BigFanboy.com, and I'm sitting here with the very lovely Lake Bell. I have to tell you a story. For the last 3 years at San Diego Comic-Con, you've gone out there to do press for like Children's Hospital.
Oh,
3
yeah.
years, right? 3
Yes.
years in a row. All 3 years, for one reason or another, I have somehow missed you, even though I had like RSVP'd for like press stuff, because some craziness where like I was across the hall at like some other press junket and I couldn't make it in time.
What an injustice.
And here's my favorite one. Last year, I actually got in the room right at the moment where you were standing up and walking out the back door. So it was like, when I found out you were coming in town, I thought,
Do-over.
I've got to make this happen. I've got to make this work.
Okay.
So, and I'm honored to be able to host your Q&A tonight. So
Thank you for doing that, by the
Absolutely.
way. Yeah, I hope we do okay.
I think we're going to be great.
Okay, good.
I think you're going to be great. I don't know about me, but you know.
I at this point, I'm not to be trusted, but okay. So wait, that's so crazy that kept happening.
I know, it was just kind of a weird thing, and I mean, somehow I managed to talk to Ken Marino. I see that guy everywhere.
Marino,
that guy's like,
Marino.
you go in the bathroom, he's waiting for you. You know,
he's like, what? Who can I? You know, he's probably here.
He's hiding somewhere.
He's
like, when do I jump in and do this? Yeah. Now, I love this movie. This was really great, and one of the reasons I love it is because I do have a little bit of history in doing voiceover work.
I believe
like
that. With what you're toting there.
and so knowing what I know about, especially how competitive that industry is. I mean, I think that's one of the things that some people don't realize is it's one of those few industries where like anyone that's in it does not want to help anyone else get in it.
No, because there's only so many jobs. So the people who have lockdown on certain types of jobs and subgroupings of jobs, they sort of hold their fort, you know, and they're like, don't creep in, and so therefore they're protective. Yeah,
and when exactly did this concept come up? I mean, I'm assuming that when the whole thing with Don LaFontaine passing away, was that kind of the spark of the idea?
Well, it's interesting. He passed away 5 years ago, and yeah, he was in my consciousness, and I was always really obsessed with just the words "in a world" and all of the sort of cultural relevance that surrounds that in you know, our kind of pop culture. I'm a trailer person. It's something I like to do. I can spend hours and hours and hours just watching trailers, and you know, I used to always take on that announcer voice for really mundane things, and you know, with my friends, sort of in a world where one woman would go into the bathroom to get me a tissue, please, you know. So it was just constantly doing that, and then I was like, God, that's interesting that no women have ever done that.
Yeah,
isn't that weird? You know, and then that was the organic conversation that spawned. Ooh, wouldn't it be fun to have, you know, a lady set out to take on that world, and it seemed like a good petri dish of cacophonous characters to kind of find comedy, you know. But, yeah.
Cacophonous.
Yeah.
Yes, that was good. I like that.
Thanks.
When you started,
it's one of my favorite words.
Did you do a lot? Did you do a lot of research into that world that you like? Because I know you've done voiceover work yourself.
Not a lot, though.
Not a lot.
I can't get in the click either.
Yeah.
That's why I had to make this movie, just so that maybe, you know, I would get considered.
Maybe the movie trailer guys will call you and say,
"Hey, kid,
we saw you do In a World."
We saw you do that. Yeah. I don't know. I guess it's still a dream. I still want to do it.
But I'm assuming at some point there was like a considerable amount of research that went into this. I mean, talking to different people.
No. The research was literally trying to get in. I was sat in so many rooms waiting for auditions, auditioning upon auditions, like constantly trying to get it. But I used actually a different world to create and sort of investigate hubris, so male hubris and male dominance. My dad is in race car driving, and he owns race car tracks, and he's been an amateur racer my whole life. I've been on the sidelines of a track since I can remember, literally. And you know, my only way that I could really relate to him well would be to sort of pay attention and sponge off of information about cars.
Yeah.
And that's why I write this car column for the Hollywood Reporter called Test Drive, and I test drive cars, and I can only do that because of how I grew up. And so in that world, which is also male dominated, there are a lot of sort of big egos and male egos sort of summing each other up and swinging swords, you know, kind of sniffing each other's butts about who's the best, and very few women, but there are women.
Yeah.
And so I guess I use that, and of course it's the amateur, world, not the real racers. So it's still really grave, and people, it's still life or death circumstances. Yeah. But there is that sense of they're not the professionals; they're the amateurs. So again, I had all of these relationships and dynamics of men and how they feel about themselves and in competition that always I found really funny and interesting.
Why do you think it is that women don't get considered more for voiceover work in particular areas like movie trailers and things like that? Why is it? Well, is it just not in the consciousness of, let's try this and see how it feels?
I think we're so used to, we're just used to a male voice.
Right.
And so nobody ever thinks about it anymore.
Yeah.
And then because movies cost so much so much money now, they would hate to take a chance on something, and what if it didn't work?
Right.
What if it didn't get butts in seats? Oh God, what then? And so I kind of call BS on it though, because I do think in the same way that you wouldn't have a male VO a tampon commercial, you'd have a woman do it because it's for a woman. If you have a female, clearly like a chick flick, okay?
Yeah.
Because there are some that are just trained in for women viewers. Those movies should have a female voiceover, not a male. But sometimes they even have male.
No, and those are actually some of the most annoying male voiceovers, I think, sometimes.
Totally. I'm like, what do you do telling me to,
Jennifer Aniston. It's like so drawn out that it's like over the top. Now, I also want to talk about the cast that you were. Oh, and one of my favorite scenes, which kind of speaks to what you were talking about a second ago, the party scene, when they're all kind of, like you say, it's like the measuring of dicks.
Yeah, swinging dicks.
Yeah,
I said swinging swords because I wasn't sure if I was.
But that's very legitimate. I mean, that kind of thing really does go on. They really do taunt one another and try to like.
But that's why it's so interesting that it actually, even though it's about the voiceover community, and maybe not everybody knows about that community, it's reflective of a number of different environments. One being race car driving, for instance, which you wouldn't necessarily know about either. But the voiceover community that feels somewhat of the stepchild to the movie industry has a lot to prove amongst each other. I mean, they have this corner of the business that's incredibly important because we need voiceover artists. Like, I couldn't go to the bathroom and cross this room right now without hearing some sort of advertisement or something, on the television or whatever it is, whether it's what bank to trust or what kind of tampon to buy or whatever movie or car or whatever. There's always these voices talking to us. It's an important job.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that in movie trailers, it's kind of archaic now.
Yeah.
You don't have the epic guys doing it anymore, and I think it really kind of died with Don LaFontaine. So.
Yeah, in some ways, a lot of trailers now, it's almost like the music and the sound effects are overpowering the voice.
It's a trend right now that you don't have voiceovers.
Short attention span.
Exactly, and also it's just like, in the same way that certain fonts are hot for a time, in a trailer. Certain types of voiceover get to be trendy or not.
Right. Talk a little bit about the casting for this, because you have a great mix of people.
Do you like that?
I think we need to get that at some point.
Do you like that phone that went up?
It's nothing better at an interview than side sound effects. No, I kind of like it. I want to keep it in there. I think it's funny because it's natural, it's real.
Yeah.
That's real life.
It could have been Hollywood calling.
It could be Hollywood calling.
Maybe that's my new gig as the voiceover artist. Now I'm 40s. That's the 40s.
It's a voiceover artist, yeah?
As a voiceover artist, you see? Don't you understand?
I'm going to make it in the pictures.
Sure I am, kid. That was another vocal trend.
There you go. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
It was big time. Let's talk a little bit about the casting, because I mean, obviously you've got people in here that you've worked with before, like Rob and like Ken, but there's
all of them.
Well, yeah, pretty much all of them at some point or another, but including some cameos that I'm not going to spoil that you guys are
you get it.
going to love.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great because I really enjoyed that a lot. Seeing, those are terrific. But in particular, your father in the movie.
Yes, Fred Melamed.
Fred, who is terrific. Absolutely terrific. I thought he was great in A Serious Man, and then you see him in this, and he he has such a presence about him, and there's a very real quality about him. That like that's the kind of guy you see in Hollywood that has been doing this forever.
Yeah.
You know.
What he brings to the character that is sort of unique to him is that he's just a really nice guy personally.
Yeah.
So when he's playing this very complicated and despicable man who's sort of dealing with his battered hubris and figuring out how to manage his feelings, he personally is a very wonderful husband and father, and so you feel that texture underneath there, which helps it not be so one note. I mean, he's multi-notes, and I'm very thankful to him for investing so much energy into that character. But yeah, I worked with almost all of my cast, except not Fred Melamed. I hired him before knowing him, and he was a voiceover artist for 20 years.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff.
He worked with Don LaFontaine.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There was one really big campaign that's like
Mercedes.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's like one of my, he's done so much stuff. And then also, it was interesting seeing Rob Corddry play a very sort of straight man, which you don't get to see. But he's great.
He's so good. I mean, and he's funny too. It's just that he's sweet, and he often plays dicks, you know. And I know him as a sweet man. He is important to me as a friend, and I always wanted to write him something that. Where he could investigate that part of himself. And he was kind enough to go there with me. And same with Michaela Watkins, who does incredible sketch comedy and is so funny. But again, she played a very honest, very sweet, and complicated role. Yeah,
she's terrific at like improv stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody had a very natural quality, which is what I really appreciated about it. Now, when all movies are a lot of work to make, and all movies, you know, there's people don't realize sometimes just how much effort goes into even the smallest of films. When you started getting the reaction that you were getting to this, and like the film festival reaction, I mean, obviously that's a very gratifying thing in and of itself, but was it in some ways a little surprising? Did you not know at that moment how people were going to take to it? Or
of course, I mean, I don't think, you know, you don't make a movie. I mean, I don't make a project and think, oh, you know, here are all the accolades I'm gonna get. You think about, God, I hope people like it.
Yeah.
You know, God, I like it. You know, am I happy with it? It's more.
But you're also so close to it that it's hard to really know.
But I have an objective. I've always been, it's the same with my performances, and I feel like I can direct myself because I've never been squeamish about seeing myself on camera.
Yeah.
I never had that.
That's
thing.
rare.
I know.
Oh my God.
And I have other friends who would be like, don't show it to me, or, you know, and I'd always look at them and think, oh God, I don't have that. What does that mean? I just look at myself and go, okay, that was good, or I could learn from that, and then I move on. You know, I look at it as a real tool.
Yeah.
But, you know, when the movie receives, you know, has received love and hugs from festivals and whatnot, namely Sundance, you know, I mean, that was literally life-altering.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it doesn't, you know, Sundance is an institute and a group of people and even just a concept that makes me want to work harder. And I can only liken it to how you felt when you apply for college or for something. You know, it feels very earnest and like you want to make someone proud. Like how often as an adult do you want to make someone proud? That feeling feels good.
Yeah.
And making movies makes me feel that way because even you put your friends in a movie, all you want to do is make them proud. I'm like, for Corddry and Marino and Fred, I'm like, these people are counting on me. I better friggin' do something here. I'm going to work my hardest.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Sundance, they had accepted my short film. They were like, we're really looking we're looking forward to seeing In a World. And, better kick ass, man. Putting all my heart and soul into this. Oh God. So when I got in, I always joke, it's like, I'm concerned I won't be this excited for my firstborn child. You know, I just don't know if I can feel any more moved and honored, you know. And to even receive accolades at Sundance is already like so far beyond bonus. It's like, I was utterly speechless to be in that situation. I'm like, being at Sundance is winning. That's your one.
Yeah, I know. Just getting that foot in the door.
Even just having your movie made is one. I mean, you can keep going back, you know. To wrap your movie is you've won your one, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's
Well, I imagine there's a certain amount of pressure that comes with that too, because there's certain filmmakers that maybe think, when I get into Sundance, maybe my third or my fourth film will get the attention, but now you're like in the spotlight.
Right. Well, that offers pressure too. You know, I mean, it can go both ways. I think, you know, all it does is feed my my desire to make things that I'm proud of, and you know, it's not like I, you know, bounced into this industry yesterday. I mean, I've been working hard for for like almost 12 years, and I went to drama school before that. I've dedicated my life to storytelling in some capacity, and I know that I'm very lucky. I know that it's the coolest job ever, you know, and so I hold on to that dearly, and I surround myself with people who feel that way too. I'm not interested in like cynics, you know, cynical kind of assholes. I really, you know, I don't have anyone on my set that ever has the kind of listen kid or, oh, look at that, isn't that cute? You know, I surround myself with other people who are content creators, like all those guys, like Dimitri Martin. They all make their own stuff. They respect the process. They're creative people. They also know to say, you know, they know how to support well, which is an art in itself.
Well, I think this comes along at a good time too, because a lot of the movies that we're getting nowadays, for lack of a better word, are disposable, and it's nice to see. I don't even know if I want to go so far as to call this an independent film, but it feels like a very strong independent film, and maybe that would help maybe some of the independent movies make more of a comeback, and bring more attention to that side of cinema. Right. Know, so, and also congratulations, I guess, are in order, because I heard you had the highest per screen average of all the movies in New York last weekend.
It's crazy pants.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's crazy pants.
It's crazy pants because, you know, I'm born and raised in New York City, and, you know, being there on opening night, you know, on Friday, and serving popcorn to people at the Sunshine Theater was kind of a beautiful thing.
That's awesome.
I just sat, I was like smile ear to ear. My family would come in, and strangers would come in and like yell at me I didn't put enough butter on the popcorn. I was like, this is amazing. You know, just being a part of it. So yeah, I mean, now it's sort of the romantic part of the process, which is just having people enjoy it, and yeah, and I feel lucky to be here.
Can you tell us, before we wrap all this up, also about the movie that you have coming up that's set in India, right?
Well, yeah, it's set in India and LA, but we shot in. I didn't get to go to India, but it's called $1 Million Arm, and it's starring John Hamm and Alan Arkin, Bill Paxton, and Suraj Sharma. There's a bunch of amazing Indian actors. Madhur Mittal, Pitobash, who is a huge star in India, and you know, it's basically about this down on his luck sports agent. It's a Disney movie. Sports agent who goes over to India it's based on a true story, by the way. He goes over to India to recruit a new star pitcher, and it's based on this guy that really exists who did this, and it's an amazing story. It's very feel good. I've never been in a sports movie before, so this is a first for me.
Very cool.
I get to wear a sari as well.
Nice. Very cool. The movie is in a world. We're going to have more information down below on where you can see it around you, and you should see it. Because it's really a lot of fun. I think it kind of pulls back the curtain a little bit on that side of the industry in a really fun way.
Yes.
So, Lake Bell, and we'll have everything you need to know. Yeah,
all the down below.
Yes.
I don't know what down below means.
Down under. Yeah, that sounds awful, doesn't it?
You're like down below.
If you look down here, you're gonna have everything you could possibly want to know. So.
Jesus.